I worked hard. And I worked hard for 2 years working on this, but it just didn't pick up because I knew the skills that I needed to do to be able to help a person, but I did not know the skills I needed to be able to run a business to help more people. And that's where I got burnt out again. So now we're ready to talk about part 2 of momentum. And I was just talking about how I left my job and Nancy and I were starting to write down what we wanted out of momentum. So if you haven't seen that part, make sure you watch that. So this is where things got a little bit more real and scary. So I had just quit my full-time job, and basically my business plan was written on a whiteboard over 3 weeks. And I got so scared handing in my resignation. I remember that, and I was just like, no, I can endure it. And then one day I was just like, nah, that's it, I resign. And it was the most weight off my shoulders ever, knowing that I can finally pursue what I want to be able to do and help people become the best versions of themselves through what I believe I could do as well. So funny enough, I didn't have a job at all, and I was thinking, okay, I've got 2 weeks to sort this stuff out. Now, me knowing me, I was like, I know I can get a job in a gym. I just need to make sure that it is the right one to help me get there. So I knew there was this one particular place that I loved training at, and I've been training at for at least 6 or 7 years. And I said to myself, I refuse to work there because it's my place of homage, like it's my second home. I go there to train. I am not going to go there to work. So I kept applying at places, and I was like, oh, all right. I think there is no other option. I have to work at this gym. And I'm thankful that I did, because I've met so many people there. That obviously helps me with this journey, even to this day, 5 years, 6 years later. So Momentum started off at a local gym in Perth. I'm actually going to plug them in. It was Genesis in Bentley. 100% recommend that place, because it was just a place of where I could be myself again. Being home to a gym to help people become better educated, amazing. So I was there for about 6 months until we went on holiday. Now in those 6 months, all I did was personal training. I'm smiling because technically, this is funny because I can kind of say I was not meant to compete with the place I just quit. And what I mean by that is just no talking to any other people who I previously talked to, which I did not do, might I add. So at this gym, what I was doing is personal training. I was teaching a small group class, very high intense in class, and even though it wasn't my brand, it was something I needed to do to be able to see, get paid, pay the bills, and meet some people. And I talked to myself and I said, well, how lucky is that? My job is literally to coach people, teach them how to exercise to the best of my ability, given the program that we had. What I add was not ideal, but I think with the team that we had at the time, we definitely made it better than it was. And I'm still thankful for the team that I worked with. So if they're listening to this, thank you very much for changing my life and inspiring me. And all the people that I coached through there, there were some more difficult than others, and there were some really, really lovely people who still encourage me to this day too. Actually saying that Big Dan, met him through there. I actually met him through the first gym I managed, as he was a student and I just graduated, and still to this day we know each other. So you never know who you're going to meet. Anyway, so through that time I said to myself, okay, I'm making, and I'll be transparent with the numbers, I'm making something like between 5 and 6K per month. So that's not bad. Like I'm healthy, I've got some balance in my life. And then Nancy and I went on holiday. Now this is always the trickiest part for people out there who don't know. When you work in a gym, you're actually more of a subcontractor running your own business, not an employee. So what that means is you don't get annual leave, you barely get any days off, you don't get sick leave, you have to run it and manage it yourself. So me going on this holiday was actually one of the scariest things, because I only just started out, I don't have a strong clientele, I'm making okay money, but I didn't know if I was going to come back and if there was going to be a business. So we went on holiday to Hawaii for 4 weeks, and that was where Nancy and I started to, really realize that we loved what we do, and also saying that we connected on a very deeper level. Because when we went to Hawaii, we were just chilling and holidaying and Some days we'll be on our laptops just doing what we loved. Now, for those of you who don't know, Nancy is an amazing photographer and graphics designer, and she was drawing all of these inspirations from just where she was, and that made me want to be better too. So I started going into like, how could I develop the business more? How could I do this and how could I do that? And I wrote it all on a piece of paper. I was probably doing that every single day. Don't get me wrong, I was also eating, holidaying, gymming, loving life. But I was definitely still planning things as if when I come back home, there was some work to be done. So after that holiday, I started implementing those changes. And my business started to, I'm not even joking when I say this, it started to explode by accident. I started seeing a 3 to 4 times increase of revenue. And you can do the math from what I just told you before. Started seeing 3 to 4 times. So you can imagine how much more busier I got. And I can't believe that it happened just like that. And in one of those networking situations where I was trying to build business as well, I had a situation where someone goes to me and says, hey, we have some space for you to be able to expand your business in over here, where you can rent some space and open up your own gym. Would you be interested? And I said, yes. I didn't even consult Nancy with this. That's how horrible I was with it. And I still don't regret it, but I wish I did tell her a little bit more of the detail that was happening through. So the hard part was, obviously, when I started this whole business at Momentum, I only had $1,000. So now seeing all this flow come through, I never borrowed a dollar, might I add. I never borrowed a dollar out of this. And I only had money from my emergency fund that I used to make this business. So I was pretty proud of myself at this point in time because I only turned $1,000 into more money, a lot more money. And so I said, you know what? Let's get this clinic. I'm renting it. Let's go. And I was supposed to go half and half with another person who was a physiotherapist. Now, this physiotherapist actually pulled out on me last minute. And I said, well, now that you can't do it, you're supposed to go 50 with me. And I was supposed to go 50. And I said, well, she pulled out. So I said, you know what? I'll take the full 100. I can fill it up. I can fill the books. I can do whatever I need to book this out. So I was actually downplaying myself because I was scared. But when I did the numbers and I trusted the numbers, I said, you know what? I'll go all in. And then that physiotherapist came back and said, hey, can I have 50% again? And I said, no, I'm sorry, you can't do that because I've already signed the papers and I need the space now. I've already made the business plan. So that cut one bridge off, but that person left after a few weeks. And that's where I was so lucky to be able to go, hey, look, I'm going to run this business and I'm going to make it work. And the flow kept coming. Now, the one thing that I struggled with was obviously still running a business. I can get people results, but I didn't know how to be able to get results for a long term as a business, not just as me now. So I needed to be able to hire people to help me. Now, this obviously came with a lot of hardship because I trusted people. I always trust people first. And the unfortunate truth is I always get burnt, if not more times than less. And I don't know why. And it has to reflect back on me at the end of the day because I can't blame anyone else out there. It's always on me. It actually kind of hurts still thinking about it because I think about all the clients where I'll give them 150%. I'll let them message me out of hours. I'll give them more program. I give them more detail. But then when it comes to check-in time, it never gets done. I'll lend them equipment and I don't get it back. I'll write a program specifically for that time. It never gets done. I'll pro bono some sessions because they say they're financially unstable and then they bail on me. And that's unfortunately what transferred to a lot of my hires as well. Because I guess people think that I came from a background where people were funding me, but really people didn't understand that I started off with my own $1,000 in my bank account. I had absolutely no business connections. I did all the work from the ground up and made those connections. And I guess people always thought I came from a privileged background, which I really don't. I really had to work for that, and I guess still to this day, it hurts to think that people don't know what work I've had to put in, including all of the nights of waking up in the middle of the night anxious and in a sweat, to waking up with work on my mind, to not being able to go on holiday when, say, one of my family members is overseas and I want to go, but I can't, to being guilty for calling in sick. And I've had people yell at me for calling in sick when I am actually sick. If I don't know, if I didn't think there was a better time for me to not be at work, and if it's not me being sick and this client's yelling at me for saying that it's not good enough, yeah, that started to really affect my confidence in running a business and seeing if I could actually help people. So I guess now this is the final part and why we're moving into the online space. So